Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here with us. Today, we are unpacking a really wild, fascinating psychological case study. We're looking at what happens when a parent's ego and deep-seated classism completely overshadow unconditional love. We're going to follow the story of a young girl named Charlotte. It's this incredible journey that kicks off with an international move and massive wealth, but it quickly just unravels into financial ruin and a really messy web of toxic family secrets. This Explainer will walk you through exactly how an obsession with status can literally fracture a family. Okay, let's dive right in.
So this is the central question we really need to keep in mind today. What actually happens when a parent prioritizes their societal image over their own kid's happiness? I mean, take a second and reflect on your own definition of success in family. Because as you'll see, this isn't just some story about losing money. It's about the intense emotional stakes for Charlotte, whose entire world is shaped and then totally shattered by her mother's desperate need to appear high class. There's some profound twists coming up, and it all starts with a massive life change.
Act 1. A New Life in America. Picture this. You're 8 years old, and you're suddenly uprooted from the beautiful, historic city of Bordeaux, France, and dropped straight into a sprawling American metropolis. Charlotte's dad had landed this highly lucrative job, so she was immediately enrolled in a super prestigious private school for international students. She's surrounded by extreme privilege, bringing homemade madeleines to class, making new friends. But fast forward to 6th grade, and that bubble completely bursts. Her dad unexpectedly loses his job. By the time she hits her junior year of high school, the lingering effects of this sudden poverty lead to some severe social and emotional struggles. But let's look closer at those early private school days, because that is where the real conflict takes root. Back during those early years, Charlotte became best friends with this fun, slightly wild Italian girl named Laura. Now, Laura's mom was a hardworking saleswoman, which made them distinctly working class compared to Charlotte's super wealthy family. So they're having dinner at Charlotte's house one night, and Charlotte's mom passive-aggressively insults Laura's financial status. And Laura, being a kid, innocently delivers this incredibly profound observation. She asks, "What's the point of a fancy dinner if the family isn't close?" Boom! That totally innocent quote pierced right through the mother's fragile ego. It exposed the uncomfortable truth that her high-class lifestyle was, well, basically empty of any genuine connection. The mom's reaction? Absolutely swift and brutal. She gives Charlotte this harsh ultimatum, demanding she get rid of her friend immediately. She literally tells her, "She leaves now or you'll be sorry." So Charlotte is learning a really dark lesson very early on here. Her mother's affection and protection are entirely conditional. They depend strictly on maintaining a specific societal image. Laura was ruthlessly banished from their home just because she didn't fit these arbitrary high society standards, leaving Charlotte completely isolated by her own mother's elitism. Act 2. Financial ruin and denial. So when Charlotte hits the 6th grade, the unthinkable happens. Her dad loses his high-paying job. Suddenly, this family is absolutely drowning in bills. The debt is piling up fast, and the dad makes the pragmatic choice to move the family to a different city and transfer Charlotte into a public school. But Charlotte's mom? She is living in a state of absolute denial. To hide her shame, she lies to her friends, she keeps throwing these lavish parties at fancy venues, and she's even still buying expensive jewelry. The psychological takeaway here is absolutely crucial. She wasn't just spending money, she was buying the illusion of her identity, because frankly, she had absolutely nothing else to fall back on. Well, the dad eventually snaps. He threatens a divorce if she doesn't stop spending money they literally don't have. Faced with divorce, the mother's facade finally breaks. The glittering, image-obsessed socialite just vanished overnight and was replaced by a silent, defeated woman doing laundry. Charlotte actually noted that her mother's eyes lost their spark, and she seemed to age 10 years in a matter of days. Her identity was just so deeply tied to her wealth that without it, she practically ceased to exist. Meanwhile, Charlotte is left to navigate her junior year at a public school completely on her own, and this transition was brutal. She was treated as a total outcast and relentlessly bullied. It even got to the point where a classmate violently pressed chewing gum into her hair. But you know, the true tragedy here isn't just the bullying itself. It's that when Charlotte went home seeking comfort, her distant, depressed mother completely brushed her off. Her mom was so consumed by her own narcissistic grief over her lost status that she abandoned her daughter emotionally exactly when she needed her most. Act 3. Reconnecting with a friend. Right when Charlotte's relationship with her mother felt entirely distant, she stumbled upon an old sketchbook, and inside, Laura's old phone number. Desperate for any kind of connection, she quietly calls her up and finds out Laura's actually leaving for Europe with her family. Sensing this massive need to escape, Charlotte crafts a brilliant lie. She tells her mom she's been accepted into an elite school project abroad. Charlotte had learned a dark but highly useful lesson over the years. She knew exactly how to manipulate her mother's weakness. By packaging her escape as a prestigious Ivy League opportunity, her mom didn't ask a single question and happily drove her straight to the airport.
But Charlotte wasn't just going to Europe to hang out. She had discovered that the city they were visiting was hosting a massive live art competition, and she had secretly entered it. The stakes? A life-changing prize of $500,000. I mean, for a girl whose family was crushed by debt and whose life was dictated by financial ruin, this massive prize represented something way more valuable than cash. It represented ultimate freedom. It was a way to finally buy her way out of the emotional abuse back home.
However, the reunion wasn't exactly the fairy tale Charlotte had in mind. One night after dinner, Laura drops a shocking confession. She admits that she was actually happy when Charlotte's family had money problems. She called Charlotte's mother a witch and said it was deeply satisfying to watch her get humiliated. This introduces a really harsh reality about collateral damage, doesn't it? Laura's resentment of the mother transferred directly onto the daughter. It shows us exactly how toxic parenting poisons the ecosystem of everyone around them, not just the immediate family.
So the safe haven Charlotte thought she had finally found? Instantly shattered. It transforms into this totally hostile rivalry because Laura unveils a major mid-story twist. She had secretly entered the exact same art competition. As they step onto the stage for the first day of live painting, Laura leans over with this mischievous grin and whispers a chilling challenge. May the best girl win. Charlotte was completely alone once again.
The final confrontation. Now, this competition was a highly publicized spectacle spanning 2 full days. As Charlotte begins to paint, she realizes the event is actually being broadcast live on television. And back in the United States, by pure chance, Charlotte's mother sees the screen. Seeing her daughter on international television alongside the despised Laura sent her into an absolute fury. And here is the bitter irony of it all. Charlotte's mom didn't immediately book a flight to Europe out of concern for her daughter's well-being. No, she flew across the world because her precious image had been humiliated on international television.
The furious parents arrived just in time for the closing ceremony on the second day. Up on stage, the judges are announcing the results. Laura takes second place and Charlotte is crowned the winner. She takes home the first place prize. But before she can even step up to the microphone to give an acceptance speech, the doors burst open. Her enraged mother has arrived, storming right into the hall to punish her daughter in front of the entire audience.
But then, Laura's mother steps right up to defend the girls, and she unloads a series of shocking revelations to the crowd. She lays out the horrifying, true depths of Charlotte's mother's past sabotage. She reveals that years ago, Charlotte's mother had intentionally burned the notebook containing Laura's phone number. She had hurled insults at Laura's family, and most terrifyingly of all, she had threatened a child, claiming she would use her high society connections in immigration to get Laura's mother deported if they ever spoke to Charlotte again. I mean, threatening to deport a working-class family over a child's friendship, that is a terrifying, undeniable display of weaponized classism.
Hearing this horrific truth laid bare like that, Charlotte makes a decisive, incredibly empowering final move. She firmly tells her mother that she needs serious psychiatric help, even offering to pay for the therapy. She then looks at her father, announces she is taking her $500,000 prize money, and declares she is leaving with him. Charlotte was actively breaking her family's generational trauma right then and there. She was using her newfound financial independence not to buy status, like her mother would have, but to buy peace and distance.
So, Charlotte won the money, sure, but the scars of her mother's conditional love and Laura's betrayal absolutely remain. It leaves us to wonder, when a parent's obsession with status poisons the well that deeply, can the kids ever truly wash off the toxicity? Thanks so much for exploring this crazy story with me on The Explainer today. See you next time.